Hey y'all, it's your girl. I'm back with another little video. Very simple, easy dish. Today I'll be teaching you guys how to make barbecue shrimp, then steak strip, and black beans and rice. This is such an easy dish. You can literally do this in minutes. So right now I'm just going to start off with the black beans and rice. I'm actually going to let it cook all the way throughout the whole duration of this video, only because I want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. Just look at this shrimp, you guys. So traditionally what we do in Louisiana, we cook with the head on the shrimp because it adds more flavor. But today I took the heads off so you guys wouldn't get freaked out and make it as simple as possible. So normally I like to prep my spices prior to cooking, only because it makes it a lot easier throughout the whole entire cooking process. So I usually add a lot of herbs with my seasoning. I add about 3 different herbs. I will have them listed in the video. Chili powder, paprika, a lot of black pepper. Black pepper really brings out the seasoning and everything that I'm about to cook today, so it's actually perfect. I add some parsley, basil, and just a tad bit of Italian seasoning. Y'all know I like that flavor. I am a New Orleans girl. This is what we do, honey. We don't play, especially when it comes to that garlic powder and that onion powder. As you can see, I'm almost using all my garlic powder, which is fine. Like I said, we love that seasoning, baby. We have to seal in that flavor, honey. The flavor is what's going to make this dish the ultimate seafood dish ever. As you can see, I added some pink Himalayan salt. We do not use regular salt in this household, as well as herbs de Providence. I get all my spices from the farmers market. If anybody is familiar with the Atlanta DeKalb farmers market, you actually get more for your buck when you shop there, and it's just very flavorful. It brings out all the flavor in the food. So I want to mix up that seasoning really well. As you can see, I'm kind of going back and making sure that my rice is not sticking to the bottom of my pan, making sure I put that lid on it and put it on low. That is very, very important. So I melted some butter because I'm actually going to start making what we like to call in Louisiana the roux. The roux is just another word for the base. So as I let that butter melt even more, I put just a teaspoon of garlic. Now, I am not one to measure my food. I literally go by taste. But in this case, because I didn't want to overpower my shrimp so much garlic, I really wanted the other flavors to really come through and do what it needs to do. As you can see, I am adding onions. Now, normally I dice them very small, but today I'm actually going to add them in little tiny strips because I really want that onion flavor to come out, that caramelized, marinated onion flavor to really, that taste to come through with my shrimp. Anybody who knows really how to cook, they know that the first thing that you do is let your vegetables, onions marinate first. That is so important because you really want that flavor to come through with everything else that you're going to add when it comes to really cooking a dish. And so as you can see, I am adding Worcestershire sauce. Now, some people will add almost the whole bottle, but I actually like to do it in moderation because, again, I want to allow everything to cook properly, and I really want it to simmer for a minute. Now, I really wanted to make sure that this part of my cooking process was thorough. I wanted the onions to really make a stance with the flavor of everything else that I have in there, along with the garlic, along with the butter and Worcestershire sauce, because I really wanted to be perfect. I didn't want it to taste rushed, if you will. As you can see, I am putting more herbs with this base because I really want that flavor, that rustic taste to come through as I'm letting the onions cook, and I'm just continuously stirring throughout the whole entire process. Now, this is the fun part. This is the seasoning, my loves, that I did prep in the beginning of the video. And so I'm putting little by little. Some people will just put the whole bowl in there, and I'm actually measuring it by eye and tasting it throughout the video because I just want to make sure that the taste is on point Adding more Worcestershire through, as you can see, I'm not loading up this pan. This is a small pan. I did add some oil in it just to kind of give it a little bit more give, because the Worcestershire in the seasoning, I noticed, was making it too thick too quick, and that's what you don't want. You don't want it to burn. You want it to be even, like I said. This is a process. This is basically making the base for your shrimp. So this is the fun part, you guys. We are actually adding lemon juice to the mix. Now, I always add the lemon juice last, be right before I add the shrimp, only because I want that zest to kind of top everything that I've added to the roux. Normally, I squeeze buku lemons every day, all day to make this dish, but I wanted to add some lemon juice and then add some regular lemon into it to make it a little bit more zestful. I'm adding more seasoning, and I am stirring all the way through, boo. This is what we got to do to make sure that is right. Now, I'm going to put it on low, put it in the back of the stove, and now I am prepping my big pan for my steak. I'm going to give you some advice. When you cook, always save the easiest thing for last. The reason why I ended up saving the steak for last was because it's thin strips, and it's actually so easy to do. I didn't prep it with any seasoning because I'm going to put the seasoning on as it's cooking, because I want it to be as flavorful as possible. I want that flavor to really like sit on the steak instead of like kind of evaporate, if you will. You can actually cook this steak on top of the stove, and you can cook it in the stove. I decided to cook it on top of the stove because, like I said, it's such an easy process. I literally flip it like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times, put that flavoring on there, that spice for your life, and then call it a day. I literally just let it cook in the butter. As you can see, the steak is cooking like really fast in like real time. It takes me no time. As you can see, as I'm letting that steak kind of cook all the way through on one side before I flip it, I actually add the seasoning to my rice because I'm seeing that the water is getting low and the rice is getting actually more fluffier. So this is the time that I actually add the seasoning to my black beans and rice. I add this kind of the same seasoning, similar to what I prepped in the beginning, but I emphasize the Italian seasoning as well as the garlic powder, the onion powder, the whole nine. I also like to add just a little bit of marinade, pre-made marinade on my steak because, again, I want that flavor to come through, and can't help but to add the flavor on top of flavor. Okay. Videos that it has like of your mom or your auntie flipping food with their fingers because it's not hot. I have been cooking literally before I was a teenager, so food is not hot to me. I literally have a high tolerance for it. I flip it, move it around, touch it, make sure it's warm. I'm that person, okay? After you flip the steak, this is the time that you really want to kind of go around the stove and make sure everything is cooking properly and stir as much as you can. I really don't leave my stove unattended. I don't care how easy the dish is. This is just what I do to make sure that everything is cooked thoroughly and making sure that all my spices are where it needs to be, and letting it just simmer and cook and taste delicious. As you can see, I am adding a little bit of Worcestershire sauce on my steak. I don't like to add a lot of steak seasoning, and when I do, it's just for specific dishes. As you can see here, I did not switch the shrimp base seasoning into a bigger pan. I wanted to keep it in a smaller pan because I was only making 8 huge shrimp, and not only that, I find that cooking the shrimp with the shrimp base seasoning in a smaller pan and keeping it kind of like closed in like that really helps that flavor to come through. Y'all know I'm all about my flavor. I don't want to miss a beat, okay? I'm going to come back and I'm actually going to add more lemon juice on the base as the shrimp is cooking. I want it to be as zestful as possible. And then I added some onions on my steak Gotta make it as flavorful as possible. Make it taste really, really good. The steak is actually almost done as we speak. Now, as I'm seeing, it's starting to get pink on one side, so I'm going to flip it over. And again, you can see through the shell. Do not be afraid to cook with the shell on. It actually makes your food taste a whole lot better. But it is your preference if you like to keep the shell off or you don't want to work when it's all said and done to take that shell off at the end. Me, I don't care. I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we actually cook with the head on. It actually adds more flavor to the shrimp dish. So, I don't care if the shell is on or not. It actually makes it more fun, and it makes the ambiance of the final product look very good and flavorful. Now, this is the shrimp. I've had it on low, and I'm cooking it on low. As you can see, I added some lemon in there to really get that flavor in. Really let it marinate. I covered it for about 10 minutes and it's actually cooking. And this is the final product of the steak. I like it crispy. And now this is the rice. Now, normally I add green pepper and red pepper, but it is your preference. But it is finito. Everything is good and done. I mean, just look at that flavor, you guys. Look at that sauce. Whew, this has my mouth watering, you guys. I enjoyed making this dish, and this is the final product. As you can see, I have the shrimp all laid out, have my steak, my onions, my black beans and rice. I mean, this is such an easy dish. And again, it was such a simple and easy dish to make. Like, you guys, you can make it as much as you want. You can make it as little as you want. You can even substitute some of the seasonings. I mean, it really did what it was supposed to do, and it gave what it was supposed to give. Okay, honey? I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video for more content. Turn on your post notifications, and whatever other recipes you want to see your girl try, comment below. I want to expand my palette. Okay, thanks for watching.